What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. It's your boy Mansa. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. So today what we're going to go over is everyone's favorite topic in gaming today: backlogs. What's a backlog? How do you beat down your backlog? How do you avoid even building a backlog? All those things. We're going to go through all that today. So if you like gaming content, different types of discussions around gaming, what's going on in the industry, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get right into it. So my first tip for, defeating your backlog, for lack of better words, is, it sounds kind of simple, but just don't have a backlog, right? Like, that sounds super simple, but basically what I mean by that is you need to decide what rules you're going to make for what actually goes into your backlog. So for a lot of people that are, either older or they've been gaming for a while, you used to remember like growing up, like you might have got one game on like your birthday or a holiday, or maybe you and your siblings shared, or you borrowed from your friends, stuff like that. And whatever game you got, whether it was good or bad, you just played it until you got that new game. Nowadays, as you're older, maybe you got your own money, or, gaming's more accessible. There's more games coming out. There's a lot of stuff on sale. There's subscription services. So your backlog can kind of build up over time without you even noticing. So I know, like, for myself, I'll start adding stuff to my backlog, or just like buying stuff because it's, Black Friday, or there's a sale going on, or there's a game that, a lot of people are talking about, and I may be able to get it for, $15, $20, or it's on Game Pass, and it just becomes a whole thing. And like, gaming should be, fun. It should be, you should enjoy it. And sometimes it turns into like a job if you let it. And that's kind of what I want to get to in this video, is like ways to avoid that, just being able to control the backlog, be able to still enjoy your games and not see it as like a task, or like, oh, I got to beat 8 more games. I got to clear this by, like, that's not fun. So like I said, try and avoid just adding games to your backlog just for the hell of it. So my next tip kind of goes along with the first tip of not having a backlog, but the first tip I'm going to give is don't add subscription service games to your backlog. So what happens with these service games, especially Game Pass and things like that, is you don't actually own the game. So either once it leaves the service, or once you don't have the service anymore, you no longer have access to that game. So now you might feel compelled, depending on who you are, to just be like, oh, I started the game, so now I gotta go spend money and buy it, and then maybe it'll just sit on my backlog. I may not even beat it for however long. Then it might go on sale, and I just wasted money, and like, it becomes a whole thing. So like, again, do as I say, not as I do, because I do sometimes add games from Game Pass on my backlog, but that's more so if I know for a fact I want to play that game, I want to beat it and things like that, not just, oh, there's new games coming every month on Game Pass, let me add them all to my backlog. I don't do that at all. So make sure you're not adding, any type of subscription service games, to your backlog, because you don't own them. And then that kind of goes right into tip number 3, which is don't add games you don't own. So not just, with subscription services, but also games that you don't physically have anymore, or digitally, or whatever. It's just like, oh, this game's interesting, I want to play it, and you may not have bought it yet, you may end up not buying it, and I just feel like it's a mental thing. Like, if you don't have it and you're just adding to your backlog, it's kind of like, okay, now I plan to buy it, but at the same time you're looking at your backlog and you're like, oh, I didn't buy this game yet, I gotta buy it, and then it kind of just sits there, and then like it's just not worth it. So like, to keep your backlog making sense, make sure you own the game. I know that sounds super simple, like a lot of these tips are very simple, but you'd be surprised how much like little things just add up to your backlog just going crazy. So make sure you actually have bought the game, you physically have it or download it, and then you can add it to your backlog. The fourth tip I want to give is, wait for sales. I've realized that a lot of people will, add a game to their backlog and just buy it the day it comes out. Like, even though it's like, let's say Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, right? It's coming out. Obviously, most people are going to buy it day one, but if you don't plan to play it day one, there's no rush to kind of just like buy the game, even if you're going to buy it later. It's like, you could wait for a sale. Like, that game's going to keep getting printed for years. Like, Breath of the Wild, as big as it is, has been is still printed till this day. It came out 6 years ago, you know what I mean? So, you know, I think like waiting for sales and then deciding if you're actually going to buy a game, like it can help you, you know, either save money and just cut down your backlog. You know, for some people like myself, it kind of adds to the backlog because I'll catch, you know, for example, like Resident Evil 2 and 3. I don't even play Resident Evil games, but, you know, Resident Evil 4 remake's coming out. I was interested in it, and 2 and 3 was coming out for a bundle for $15. It's cheap, but, you know, I've gone on like my transaction history. I have games that I bought in like 2016, 2017 that I haven't beaten it. Like Bayonetta 1, I literally forced myself, even though I like the game, but like new games come out all the time. You kind of forget about these old ones. I bought that game for like $10 or something crazy, or $8 or something back in 2016. I just beat it like a couple months ago. So it's like, you know, waiting for sales is important if you're not going to play day one, but also, you know, maybe you'll decide by the time it actually, you know, goes on sale, that's enough time for you to determine like, do you actually want that game? So definitely wait for some sales. My last tip is, it's not for everybody because it may overwhelm some people, but I'd say make an Excel sheet or Google Doc or notes in your phone or something, just so you could keep up with your games. You know, we have different, you know, physical media, subscription service, digital games, you know, different systems you download it on, all this kind of stuff where it's easy to lose track, I'll be honest. And so I came across this file that you're seeing here on the screen. I got it from Reddit. I made my own edits to it, you know, and I'll link it in the description below if you guys want to, you know, edit it for yourself. But I pretty much added, you know, different categories. So I have like not started yet, incomplete, probably won't beat. So this category sounds maybe dumb for a game to be in your backlog, because like, why is it in your backlog if you're not going to beat it? But it's kind of just for me to kind of see what I own that I probably won't beat. So for example, like Pokemon games, right? I own a lot of Pokemon games because I want to trade between the generations. So like owning Crystal or Red or Omega Ruby or something on my 3DS, I'm probably just going to trade those Pokemon to the bank or the Pokemon home, put them in Scarlet and Violet, stuff like that. So am I going to sit there and play through a bunch of Pokemon games like to actually complete the Elite Four and the Pokemon League and all that? Probably not. So it goes under like probably won't beat. Or maybe it's a game that I bought at one time that I felt like I wanted to, and you know, now I don't feel that way and I don't want to feel like forcing myself to beat it. So that's kind of what that category comes from. And then you have completed, and obviously my completed category is not a lot in it because I kind of made this after I was already beating some games, so it is what it is. But then I have the different categories, what platform it's on, if I feel like I want to just play a certain platform, like if I just want to play my Switch because I got some downtime or I'm traveling, I can list it from there. I got these hours from howlongtobeat.com, and to be honest, I just put the what the amount of hours would be if I just played the main story. So when I play games, I don't normally play a lot of games multiple times. Sometimes like a Mario game if I want to get all the stars or something like that, but I kind of do completionist-esque things as I'm playing. So while I'm playing, I'll try to discover all the areas I can in a game, you know, complete as many missions. Like if it's open world, I won't just do the main missions, I'll do the side missions as I'm moving along. So it ultimately helps you because you can get, you know, new skills and things like that, and that'll just make your main story easier. But I wasn't going to put how long it takes to complete a game like 100%. That's like, you know, adding an extra 30-40 hours. So you can kind of list by how long the game is and then decide if you're going to go for the shorter ones first, or just if you're really interested in the game, you know how much time you can commit to it. So I think this is really handy. Like I said, I'll put it in the description if you guys want to use it yourself, and then, you know, kind of store your games how you want it. So those are my 5 tips on, you know, how to deal with, defeat, avoid, bring down, whatever term you want to use for a backlog. Basically just letting you know how to handle having one or avoiding having one. So y'all let me know if there's, you know, any other tips you guys have, or ways that, you know, you're dealing with your backlog, how you're cutting down on it, if you're being, you know, smarter about what you're actually putting, you know, being more selective. You know, you don't want to just throw everything on there and just build your backlog to this unnecessary mountain like I have for myself. So y'all let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next video.